Folks, we were talking about Mecca, and I believe we have explained everything. The reason why Mecca is mainly responsible for the destruction of Pakistan, its society, its economy, its culture. It has made tremendous negative effects on other non Arab Muslims as well, like in Malaysia, in Indonesia, and even in Burma. The turmoil in Burma was because of the drama which emanated from Mecca, and Saudis used oil money to spread that hate and their control on the rest of the 50 plus Muslim countries. There was nothing positive coming out of Mecca in 7th century except the terrorism, imperialism, and the exploitation of the non-Arabs as well as women, Arab or non-Arab alike. That is why, as I said, after Omar, when he banned the education and the freedom and rights of women, everything in Arab society went upside down. They did establish an empire and did a lot of womanizing and harems and few mosques and all that nonsense, but the society as a whole suffered heavily. It did not progress, and it took hundreds of years before the Abbasid came, and they had little bit secular mind, and they allowed to work with Jews, with Christians, even Hindus. And when Baghdad was the center of their empire, they did something, little bit, not that much. They were still racist, and that is why we have these different sects emanating from Middle East, like Sufi gang, which later went on to take over most of the Muslim world, and the Sufi mullahs who created a superhuman religion made all the fake stories about Mecca, about Ghar Hira, about Abraham coming to Mecca and building Mecca, and his wife Hajra and the young son dropped over there, and all that nonsense. Particularly the most educated mullahs, they don't accept these theories, which were all made up, and they created an Islam which was not Muhammad's Islam. Many Al Hadith and Wahhabi mullahs can explain you that this Sufi idea of Wahdatul Wujud is a shirk, means they are becoming part of Allah, and Allah has come into their heart, and they have become Allah themselves, and they fooled the nation and the Muslims wherever way they went. And the new form of Islam was actually not good for Muslims because it did not establish a secular ideology, an honest ideology, and an ideology which has human rights or justice for everyone. In Muslim societies, it has always been the exploitation of poor and the woman, and that is why we did not see any progress. In India, we are witness to what Muslims were doing, only creating harems and mosques and tombs and whatnot. They did not establish any university. They did not establish any freedom or justice. Only when the Britishers came to India, they not only united the country, they established a justice system bar none. Never India has seen that justice system which British established, which has human rights. They created laws, they created legislation, they created a national army, And on top of that, they insisted on education and transport. They were the one who brought railways to India within 30 years after when railway was invented in Europe. And they made the life of the common people easy and gave them rights. They could never, the Muslim leaders could never exploit the Muslims after when Britishers came because everybody was equal under the law. And that great nation was actually a blessing for not only for India but Pakistan. When they left, they knew that this country can run by itself now without any invader coming from Afghanistan or Iran. And that is exactly what happened. But unfortunately, Pakistan fell into this shit of religion and the drama of Mecca, and ultimately they destructed everything. They did not give any right to the poor. They did not get any right to any newborn. And all they said, oh, Allah gave us Pakistan. While Allah has nothing to do in the creation of Pakistan. All Arabs were against the creation of Pakistan. All mullahs were against the creation of Pakistan except one or two. So the Allah's name was used to stop the creation of Pakistan. But after when Pakistan was created, it got grabbed and taken over by Islamic minded stupids and the mullahs. And when the military took over, they used mullahs to destroy the civilian order, the civilian government, you name it. And the situation we have in Pakistan today is because of that mentality. There is no way any society can progress under Islamic ideology. Particularly when I say Mecca is responsible because you see whatever is said about Mecca is totally fake. If you look in the Mecca, they call a place called Muqam Ibrahim, which is like 10 feet away from the building. And that was a place they say Ibrahim was standing when Ismail was building that house. I mean, it's a small brick house. I mean, the God will make one house for himself, or the first house for himself, at least he will have some grandeur. I mean, if you see what Chinese have made before that time, or what Europeans had made before that time, the grand, grand mosques, the grand, grand holy places, the palaces using the technology, which even sometimes today's archaeologists are surprised when the uh, pharaohs were making pyramids. And still, Egyptians are trying to find so many unknown facts about the pyramids. And then here we have Abraham, first of all, who never came to Mecca, making a small brick building and putting a stone in the corner. So, and then when we see in Quran that God has guaranteed that He will safeguard the Mecca, we see that it has been ruined and destroyed many times through flooding, through earthquakes, through fire. And then we have a homemade ayah in the Quran called Al-Fil, which says that somebody from Yemen came to destroy Mecca because the Meccans had destroyed one of their holy places, and then God sent them Ababil, and he had elephants. All this theory does not fit into the reality of that land. There is no elephant in Saudi, in the Middle East, particularly that area. But this guy brought 13 elephants. From where? Nobody knows. And why does he need an elephant? He could have just sent 200 warriors and destroy Mecca. But to create a drama, create something very holistic, they said, oh no, he brought elephants and then God sent Ababil. There is no Ababil in that area. The Ababil are generally supposed to be living in Africa. And then the theory about Ababil, that the Ababils can fly 10 months non-stop, and they can live in the air for 10 years. I mean, everything has been made the way we see the Hindus created their Hanuman. All this imaginary, all this uh, great fanfare, only stories. Only the God has made jinn, nobody has ever seen. But in Pakistan, we see these Sufis, they now adamantly force people to accept in jinn, jinnat, and magic and all that nonsense. They say, oh, magic is barhak because the Prophet was fell into a magic spell. There is no such thing as a magic spell. The magic spell was about an ayah which Muhammad said one day, and then after a few days backtracked. And they said, I was not in my senses. But that was not magic, because that was the ayah where he said, your gods and my gods are brothers or coexist. I love your Lato Manat and your gods, and they are for you, and my Allah is for me. Later on, his associates who were not happy with this, they forced him to take away that statement because they wanted to say, your gods are not at all right. Only our God is Allah Akbar. That was the reason. But that had nothing to do with the angels, with the jinns. And then when you see the type of mentality Shias have, I mean, it is so stupid that not a sane person can accept their theories. We understand that Shias were created or came into being because of the racist ideology and racist practices of Arabs, particularly Umayyads. So they helped Abbasid to overthrow Umayyad. And when the Umayyads were overthrown, the Abbasid also did not accept equal rights for non Arabs. They just kept doing the same racism. And the guy who actually helped overthrow Umayyads, he was from Khurasan, and he was called by in the palace by Abbasid Caliph and was killed right there. When his friends asked him why, he said, now you have no challenge. This is the way the Arab mentality back then was. And even today they consider themselves superior. Even today they have laws which discriminate against non-Arabs. You cannot marry a Saudi woman if you are a non-Arab. Although the Arabs also have to take permission, but at least they can get permission. So this is how racist they are from day one. I mean, nobody in Pakistan talks about the hadith which Muhammad says that if there are two men in my family, they will be the caliph, means they will have the power. And I am better than the whole universe, and I am better than even the Arabs. My tribe, which is, I believe, was Banu Hashim, he said they are better than other tribes. A clear racist ideology. And then we have sexist ideology, where women lost every right when Umar became the caliph. And then we have slavery allowed. I mean, some apologists say, oh, that was a tradition and it was not possible. Then why do you call yourself prophet? And why do you call yourself last prophet? Although Muhammad never said last prophet, but why you call Muhammad last prophet when you knew that his ideology or his principles are not human, have no human rights, have no human rights? One has to think that if there is a prophet, he should be Abraham Lincoln, who is buried somewhere in Kentucky in US, because he sacrificed 250,000 Americans to ban slavery. If there is a prophet, he should be some American president who created a monumental system of governing. George Washington, who created a, a constitution just 3 or 4 pages, which overlaps every holy book. It rejects every holy book and gives them human right, woman right, and freedom. There are so many amendments made after that which guarantees more rights. And this is how the United States was able to establish a country never seen in this universe, in this world. And they know how to solve their problems. But in Pakistan, if they have a problem, they will put under the carpet. They say, oh, Allah will take care of that. Oh, the poor are dying in Third. Oh, Allah will take care of that. Poor are dying in Punjab. Oh, Allah will take care of that. While the rich and corrupt, particularly this GHQ gang, they keep becoming millionaire and billionaire. They are buying the big properties outside, and they are running away from Pakistan after when they retire. I mean, these leeches, this alien army is the main problem in Pakistan. And that is what exactly now they are doing today. Just recently, they took over 2.3 million acre of land in different part of the country. And they will start corporate farming under their patronage. That means some ex-major or major general will be owning that land, and these lands belong to poor farmers. Poor farmers deserve it. But Pakistan military, which is basically called property dealers, are the worst military in the history of this world. Worse than Gestapo. They are blackmailing every Pakistani, have put thousands of people in jail. Same like Nazis used to do. They are abusing women. They are raping women. They are beating women. And they are the one who are responsible for the destruction of the country. A country left by British as a good country with rule of law, an army, legislature, which had a constitution in few years, and could have progressed same way as India has done. Not that much, but at least comparatively will be livable. Today, it's not a livable country. Today, it's a country, everybody is in absolute chaos. The last increase in electricity bill has started a revolt in the country. Every city there are protests because the electricity bills are so much. With if the cost of the electricity is 45, they put 55 rupees per unit as taxes because they don't know how to run the country. Because they created Wabda House, which is the worst electricity management company in the world, with so many resources at their disposal, with so much money in the early years of Pakistan, that we could have done wonders. We could have provided electricity to all the people and produce more. Instead, the PPP and PMLN, they contracted private companies, and today Pakistan's electricity cost per unit is 3 times that of India, double that of Bangladesh. And the people are crying and they are ready to come out, and we may see a kind of civil war in the country. But the GHQ gang will keep making money, bleeding the country, and destroying its political system. Without elections and stable political government, the country cannot survive. It's about to explode internally. But these interpassed low IQ bastards, they don't give a shit about it because they know they will run away as soon as the country go down. And it is going down. Think about it. God bless.